don't know if you know that I've got this photograph.
Oh. I didn't even know that existed. Wow. Holy cow. You know, I said that hunting wasn't in my DNA, but I didn't say outside wasn't in my DNA. That's my dad, my big brother, Al, who's still a great fisherman, and me with my chubby self. And I mean, we're outside somewhere. Wow, you know, I don't know that I've ever seen that photograph before, but that just goes to show you what a good guy my dad was. My dad started a thing in 1962. He started this thing in 1962 called the Junior Sportsman's Club. And we would take underprivileged kids hunting and fishing whose dads didn't do it, or he's a veteran, you know. Most of them had lost their dad. But he started this thing in 1962 called the Junior Sportsman's Club. And like 2 weekends a month, we'd go hunting or fishing or rabbit hunting. I didn't even know that picture was around.
I come from a history of hunting, an experience denied to me growing up. A letter written to me as a boy is allowing me to discover what hunting meant to my family. The message was simple. It's in my blood. A message that I now get to share with my sons and others. Everyone has their own story. This is one of them. How do you begin to describe a hunting legend? You talk about their heart. Though not raised in a hunting family, his heart was for hunting. He was one of the originators. When you think back to those that started bringing hunting to the mainstream audience, there are only 3 of them. Will Primos, Toxie Hayes, and Ronnie Cuz Strickland.
Man, that's back in the day right there. You know, I said that I believe in divine intervention. And I know that to be true because I met Toxie and Will Primos. Both very visionary people. And, you know, Will, he was all about, man, we need to share this and share this. And Toxie was the same way. And I fell in love with the video aspect of this thing. I said, well, man, everything we do, we need to share it. We need to film it and all that. Little did we know that would turn into television and all this other kind of stuff. But, you know, there's very few people blessed early in life to have that kind of vision. I mean, I got really good vision now. Man, I'm 62, fixing to be 63. If only I would have had it when I was in my mid-20s and late 20s. Like, I'm telling you, Toxie and Will had that. And that was fascinating to be around and to see somebody that had at least as much love of the outdoors as I did, take that and let me come along. I told Toxie, I sent Toxie a note on Thanksgiving and say, hey man, you need to know you're on the top of our thankful list, but letting me come along with that, hopefully I'll, you know, chipped in with whatever, but to see that old picture right there is like, man, they had some vision back in the day.
If you know him, he only goes by one name, Cuz. But for a select few, he goes by a lot of other names. Dad, husband, Pawpaw. His heart is rooted in his family, investing time into them and dedicating himself to embedding those same ideals for why he loves to get outside and hunt into them.
My youngest daughter, Lauren, we went hunting one day, and she was a little bitty thing, and she had like Barbie dolls under her arm. And anyway, we were walking to didn't have a deer stand, we were gonna build a blind. I had a sleeping bag I could roll out. Anyway, it had rained that morning, and it was getting cooler. And at some point, I just stopped, and I said, Lauren, you smell that? And she sniffed real loud. And she said, no. I said, that's the woods. I said, you're not going to smell that anywhere else but right here. And never thought anything about it. It was just a dumb thing for a dad to say, like, hey, I'm taking you hunting. Well, about, I don't know, 10 or 11 years later, we're hosting some kids from Camp Compass Academy. And Lauren now, she's 16 or 17, she's one of the guides. She knows a lot about deer hunting. And her and this young girl were walking down, we were in Alabama at Bent Creek Lodge. We were walking down the road and I was behind them filming them. I'm just the photographer on this deal. Lauren's the guide. And they're walking along and they stopped, so I stopped, and Lauren did the same thing. She told the little girl, she said, can you smell that? And the little girl sniffed, and about halfway through it, I thought I was gonna start crying. I was like, she remembered that from 11 years ago when I said, that's what the outdoor smells like. That's when it dawned on me, you know, it's those little things.
You ask anyone that has interacted with him, and they're all likely to say the same thing. He had time for me. Being who he is in the industry today, his most valuable resource is time. But counterintuitively, it's the single thing that he is willing to give to anyone. The question is why? Why does he give so freely of his time? Why does he even bother? The why is because that's what he wants hunters to represent. That's what he wants the industry to represent. Giving of our time freely.
I learned early on in this business when things started happening that I had enough sense and enough wherewithal. I would try to figure out why did that happen. You know, I didn't go to college. I didn't have a degree in anything. I didn't learn how to do public speaking, and I didn't learn how to analyze things. So I would stop and I would try to figure out why did that good thing happen to me, and it all related back to me giving something before that. And you know, it may be like somebody sent me a bow because they wanted me to try the bow, and then I got to know when I'd give that one away. I learned really quick that the more that you give, the more that's going to come back to where it gets to where you can't give enough away, and that may just be your time. You know, Toxie said, he's got a line he talks about all the time. He said, I don't care how much money you got, how much land you got, how much anything you got. The most valuable thing that you have, that you own, is your time. And you don't have much of that. So I want to be the person that don't mind giving time to somebody. That's what I want the grandkids and everybody to see, is like, Pop always had time. Now, that doesn't sound like much. And you can't be all things to all people, but, you know, for whatever reason, if I'm well known, whether it's through television or videos or stuff like that, I always want those people to know that what they see is what they get. And if you can't practice that with your own family, you know, and be honest about it, be sincere about it, you know, if you put on a fake front, soon enough you're going to get made out. And I don't do that. I mean, I'm country. I'm very giving. Toxie says you have a serving spirit, and I guess I got that from my mom. She was the same way. But you know, I've made it a real point for the people that are close to me. If they want to try this, I'm going to do everything I can to make it fun for them. And I just want them to have a good time. But I just want them to see that if you give enough, it's going to come back to you in spades, as my dad would say. So if I can just kind of pass on one thing, it's like, you know, be a giving soul and don't get too wrapped up in yourself. My name is Cuz Strickland, and I am a thankful father, husband, grandfather, and proud hunter. Everyone has their own story. This is mine. It's in the blood.